All right. We showed up in London, and Danae, she beat us there. She'd been there for a full semester before us. And so the rest of us yahoos are kind of wandering around London, and we signed up for one of these school-arranged tours. And we're supposed to go to this comedy club. And we get there, and our school drops the ball like it always does, and hadn't bought tickets to this comedy show. And Danae had been here before, and so she knew her way around, and so she was kind of our official, unofficial tour guide. And so she's like, what? They didn't get tickets? And in classic Danae, she, short sentence, forget this. And she looks around, and she grabs a bunch of us that are staying near her, and she goes, let's go someplace cool. And she marches us off down around Leicester Square, maybe 2 or 3 times in circles. It's like, I know this great bar, we'll go there. And you know, after a few dead ends and directions, we make it there to this wonderful little blues bar that to this day, is still one of my absolute favorites. I took my girlfriend there over the summer, and we still love it. It's a fantastic place. And I looked at everybody there, I'm like, you know what? This girl, she's pretty cool. She knows what's up. About a week prior to this, I had met Jesse because we were on another one of these school-organized, week before you start studying abroad, trip through Europe. And we started off in Amsterdam, and then we went to Bruges and to Paris. And we didn't really know each other at this point, but there was a common theme every morning. Each morning we'd wake up, we'd go down to the little hotel continental breakfast thing, and both of us would be standing like this, rubbing our temples, and we'd just look across at each other, we wouldn't say anything, we'd be like, oh yeah, rubbing the heads, getting back in line for orange juice. And so this happens like 2 or 3 straight days, and finally we look up at each other like, we're obviously doing something right here. We're making great decisions every evening. Let's do this together. And so Jesse and I became friends over the juice machine, basically, in Paris. And so from that point on, we were kind of like traveling everywhere together. We get to London, and I had started to date this little mousy girl from Indiana who was on our trip too. And she just happened to be Danae's roommate. And you know, Jesse and I are friends. I'm like, Jesse, I like you, you're a good guy. And Jesse's like, yeah, I like you too, you're a good guy. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm spending a lot of time with Marcy. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, you know, Marcy's got a roommate. And he's like, yeah, I know, she's pretty cool. She took us to that bar. And I'm like, well, you know, if you were in that room with her, and I was in that room too with Marcy, we could hang out all the time. And so we're like, brilliant! So we cracked this great plan. You know, Marcy was trying to set Jesse up with her other friend. We're like, no, that's a horrible idea. Put that under the rug. So, you know, finally, one evening, we've been working on this for what seemed like an eternity when you're 20 years old or so, like 2 weeks, you know? I'm like, I don't know, it's just not happening. What is the problem? And one evening, we go out, and all of a sudden, from our group of friends, Danae's just not there anymore. We're like, where'd Danae go? And so rumors start to speak like, maybe Danae's with somebody. Who's Danae with? Maybe she's out. I don't know. And so we sit around, we have a couple more, 3, 4 more Guinness, and you know, Marcy, this little girl that I was dating, you know, are chatting about it. We're like, okay, this is interesting. We'll have to see what happens here. And so we go back to her room, because I was staying at that room all the time. I wasn't staying at my house, and so poor Danae was kind of living with me too. Like it's a twin bed, Marcy, Danae, and Brett, just all the time. And she's like, hey, how you doing? Are you still hanging out here? This is like a girl's room. So she put up with me for a while. And so Marcy and I come back to this room, and you know, we've been out, we're young, it's London, we're kind of tipsy. And we walk in, and the bulge on Danae's side of the room is a little bit bigger. So we're like, there's a cover here, and it's big enough for 2 people.
This is kind of subtle, I think.
I look at
way to go,
Marcy,
PG-13.
PG-13. And Marcy looks at me, and we're doing this. We're high-fiving. And then we go to bed, and we pull the bubble too, because when you're 20 or so, you know, you've got a 1/4 inch of fabric. That's all you need. It's like out of sight, out of mind. I wake up the next morning because I'm working in an internship and I have to leave and catch a tube all the time. And I wake up and I see this hairy leg hanging out of the bubble. And so I'm inching closer and closer and closer. And then all of a sudden, these eyes open up and look right at me. And I go, "It's you!" And he goes, "It's me!" And I go, "Oh!" And with more than normal joy, I jump into the bed with him. It's hugs all around. It's hugs. And for us, "It's you," that little thing that we had, became our catchphrase of kind of the vacation. So I would come around a corner and not expect to see Jesse, and he'd be there and be like, "It's you! It's you!" And I think it was appropriate then, but I think it's even more appropriate now. Because when you look at these two, and you know how much they love each other, and you can see that when they look in their eyes, look each other in the eyes, yeah, the only thing that they're thinking is, "It's you." Congratulations. Congratulations.
I also have a few words to say about Jesse and Danae. My name is Ryan, and I've known Danae for 15 years. We became fast friends in 7th grade, way back in the day, and she's been an incredible friend ever since. But I've also known Jesse and Danae as a couple since London as well, and I think Brett shed some light on their first meeting story, but I also have some light to shed on that story, because when Jesse and Danae first met, or when they first saw each other, Jesse's reaction was hot. I love her curly hair. I know that now. And Danae's reaction when she first met him was, "Well, you know, I'm not too sure. We'll see where this goes." And now I've been filled in on the mystery week, because I flew in a week after the night that Brett just described, and the first thing out of Danae's mouth was, "Oh my God, you have got to meet this guy Jesse. He is amazing. You have to meet him." And she was all smiles and so smitten, and that was after their second date. And that excitement has been there for 6 years, and there are so many wonderful things I could say about Jesse and Danae's love for each other, but just the standout to me and what I want to toast to tonight is the way that these two support each other. It's just incredible. From the big things, Jesse being there for Danae when she went back to school to get her master's, and the little things, Danae, when a week ago she's stressed out of her mind, her wedding's a week away, and she drops everything to do Jesse's laundry because they ran out of time. These two just really know how to support each other in the day-to-day and the big picture, and making their lives and goals and dreams come true together. So I just toast to you tomorrow and the rest of your lives together, that you may have that love and support. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
What do you want? It's you, everybody! It's you! It's wonderful.
Good job, Brett.
Good job.
It's you. I